Friends, this is an intumescent cataract. By this time the main incision has been made and one side port has been made on the left side of the main incision. Now I want to stain the anterior capsule with trypan blue dye. The dye is in a 2cc syringe with a 27 gauge cannula. The dye is sprayed evenly over the anterior capsule and care is taken to stain all parts of the capsule. Now the dye is washed out with a Simcoe cannula. Now in intumescent cataracts I use HPMC as the viscoelastic substance. I do not use sodium hyaluronate. So this is HPMC. Now I have to make another side port on the right side of the main incision. Here it is. Now I take a 26 gauge bent needle and incise the anterior capsule at the anterior pole. I usually try to make a C-flap, but in this case it became a radial cut and it was quite dangerous. However, I have been able to direct it and I'm going to make a small opening at the anterior pole. And now I have to remove some cortical lens matter from the anterior aspect of the cataractus lens. So in this case I have just irrigated the anterior portion of the cortex. I've introduced this irrigating probe of bimanual IA through the mini rhexis, and you can see that a lot of cortex is getting dislodged and it is coming out through the main incision. Thus, when some substance of the lens matter comes out, the intralenticular pressure decreases and thus the intumescent cataract has been converted into a normal cataract. Now I make a nick at around 7 o'clock. Take a utrata forceps, hold this capsular tag and I go anti-clockwise and I enlarge this mini rhexis into an optimum sized capsular rhexis. In this case the capsular rhexis didn't become circular, but it is an acceptable continuous curvilinear capsular rhexis, and there is a hard cataract. You can see that this brown tinge, and we can see this is Cataracta brunescens. Now these cataracts are usually hard and nuclear sclerosis is about grade 4 or grade 4 plus. So what I do is in this case is I do wood cutters technique. Wood cutters technique is you go from the equator just underneath the main incision towards the opposite equator and just do a horizontal chop. In this case, the nucleus has been divided into two heminuclei by this time. Now each heminucleus is then further subdivided into two parts, and each part is then emulsified with ultrasonic energy. Phaco power used in this case is 75%. Flow rate is 45 ml per minute, and vacuum is 450 millimeter of mercury. And at this stage you can see that there is no support of epinucleus in this case, and it's a free floating cataract, and it has been managed quite well. Now cortical cleanup is to be done. One can use bimanual IA at this stage or coaxial IA, whatever you are habituated with. Just use that instrument, but whatever you do, just clean the cortical matter very nicely. In this case, some little bit cortical matter was there. There is no epinucleus, so the cortex is being cleaned out. At this time I am to the right side port, and the cortex from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock is being cleaned out. So the cortical cleanup is done. Now in this case I have selected a hydrophilic acrylic intraocular lens, and I have planned to implant the lens under irrigation. Irrigation will keep the antechamber formed, and I will implant the lens in the capsular bag. Here it is. Irrigation through the left side port, and here goes the lens. The leading haptic has gone into the capsular bag, and the trailing haptic has also gone into the capsular bag. And now the side ports are to be hydrated. Moxifloxacin has been injected into the antechamber just before this hydration. That's it. So in this case I have used only irrigation to remove some cortical lens matter and reduce the intralenticular pressure. In other cases I have used a Simcoe cannula to aspirate some cortical lens matter, but in this case it was just irrigation. And in this case the antechamber is formed with BSS, and the case is concluded. Thank you very much for your attention. Hope this video will help you in developing your surgical skills.